All right, looks like I'm live now. Let's see. I'll wait for a few people to get in here before I start talking too much and make sure everything is working. Okay, looks like we're up and running here. Turn off the volume there. Let's see if that's working. Wait for some people to get in here and see how many people we can get in here before we start chatting. All right, looks like we got some folks showing up here. Can you guys hear me all right? Test, test, test. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know if you guys can hear me just fine, if you would. How's everybody doing? Oh, I might not. There's something going on with the volume here. Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay. Audio 5x5. Roger that. All right, look at everybody showing up already. Nice. Yeah, so what do you guys think of the storm? Anybody in Sacramento here this evening? Because it looks like Sacramento is just being absolutely obliterated with just huge amounts of lightning there. And you can see some pretty vigorous thunderstorm activity here. There's some nice shear. Probably just absolutely blasting somebody here. Sacramento northbound there. Pretty wild. And there's some lightning strikes off across, of course, in the low itself out here. There was actually some lightning strikes with this band of moisture here earlier, but that's not really going to be the player. This is going to pivot down. And that's what's just going to unleash here on Southern California, especially places west of LA. And it's still, the further east you go, confidence is a little bit lower, but some of the models are just showing absolutely torrential rain battery in Los Angeles also. So getting some people saying it was nuts. Yeah, the NAM3 cam was showing some tornado soundings out there, and there's definitely a tornado possibility with this. I mean, I don't know how much better you can draw it up, honestly. This low pressure is going to sit off the coast. There's going to be some nice turn in the atmosphere. The water is above average warmth off the coastline here, so it's just going to help those low-level lapse rates, the instability in the lower levels. It's probably going to be some rotating updrafts, and the updrafts will probably be strong. And Chris Naughty, thank you for the generosity there. Very nice of you. Glad you guys are checking out the daily videos as well. Yeah, so it looks like we get a lot of people from Sacramento showing up in here. Yeah, and the Los Angeles Metro, Southern California, you guys are going to be getting some very heavy rainfall incoming here. I mean, it's going to be kind of like big showers, little break, big showers off and on for a couple days at least. Yeah, the South Lake Tahoe, as you can see, the low pressure center is spinning out here. So it's going to bring some moisture across the Sierra, but it's not bringing big amounts. Like Las Vegas might get a few tenths of an inch of rain, but not huge amounts. Better amounts across some of the deserts, California. And Arizona is actually going to get a nice shot of precip out of this also. Heavy rain and lots of thunder in the central Sierra. So it looks like you might be seeing some of this here. This does not catch all the lightning activity here. So when you know it's bubbling up this much, you know it's going good there across some of Sacramento is right here. San Francisco. San Jose is here. There's Fresno down here. Yeah, Palm Springs has some potential as well. I mean, there were some pretty good amounts showing up. I mean, there's going to be some people who are disappointed with the amount of precip they get. That's kind of typical here, though, with these storms. But there's a pretty good swath showing up. And I'll show you some of the models here in a moment as well. First of all, check this out. This is sea surface temperature anomaly as of, Sunday afternoon. It hasn't changed much, changed much since. But you can see that things are above average off the coastline there. So this very cold air aloft kind of meets up with that. You get this very unstable atmosphere. Monterey is in the house, San Luis Obispo. 1 inch of rain already today. Yeah, this is going to be moving south for sure. Yeah, you're going to be getting, I'll be very surprised if Los Angeles does not get thunderstorms out of this setup. I'll be very surprised. Yeah, and there's another round of rainfall coming for the Central Coast. You can see this is going to be wrapping up here as we go on into tomorrow morning. They have the dates messed up on here. I don't know what this is doing, but there's the potential up and down the coastline as well. And then you can see the day 2. Tomorrow still includes the Bay Area here. If we zoom in a bit there, this is day 2. And they did introduce this moderate here for some of the, near Ventura County, Santa Barbara, some of the transverse ranges in here, and even up the Central Coast. I mean, pretty interesting stuff. And day 3 is even better, but we'll look at that here in a bit. Bay Area weather, thank you very much for the generosity from San Francisco. They do these pretty cool forecast discussions here as well. And they mention some pretty good Cape values coming in here up towards 1,000. And that is going to be quite nice for some very intense rainfall. And I forget where I read it. I think I read it on the area forecast discussion, expecting some localized places getting over 10 inches of rainfall, especially in the transverse ranges. Perpendicular to the flow, of course, it slams right into the terrain. Shout out from Orange County, Fresno, beautiful skies. Yeah, Morrison Boy 7 mentioned that the tornado, thunderstorm, Southern California. I mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot of turning in the atmosphere. It's going to be really unstable. I may fly down tomorrow. So that's a thing I'm looking at doing, because I'm really interested in, maybe tomorrow afternoon somewhere just to the west of Santa Barbara, maybe. But then Thursday morning, as the line starts approaching, you know how tornadoes can kind of favor the morning hours there across some of the Los Angeles metro or Southern California. I'm really interested in the Thursday morning time frame, so I may fly down for that. Ace Larson, thank you for the generosity, sir. So let's look at, actually, what did I just do here? I think I just clicked off my channel. Stand by here with me for a second. There we go. Oh. All right, ignore that double sound you'll hear there. It's a little bit still more uncertain down for San Diego County. Right now, it looks best for some of the Los Angeles metro off to the west there along the south coast. And I'll show you some of that here in a minute also. What am I doing here? Okay, let's click off of these. Sorry, I'm still getting things in order there, but let's do this. Okay. So this is day 3, and I just kind of want to point something out here really quick. So they mentioned this is in the upper echelon there of the climatology for the date in question. So this matches up with several other higher impact events there. And areas northwest of Los Angeles will approach up to 8 inches within the 2-day span. So there's going to be some interesting stuff. There's going to be training showers over this area as well. Previous discussion. Okay. So here's the updraft helicity. So right now, this only goes through Thursday morning. So the Los Angeles metro is right here, but look at the area off to the north and west. There's going to be some rotating showers coming in here. And I will not be surprised at all when there's a tornado or two reported with some of this activity here as we go on in through the day Thursday. And then we could see something down towards San Diego, but it's definitely a possibility. San Diego gets water spouts all the time too, but they're going to be moving more parallel to the coastline down here. So it's probably a better chance of a water spout coming on shore here, probably here in Southern California, but you could get some water spout activity off the coastline of San Diego. Wouldn't doubt to see that at all. La Quinta. Snow levels are going to be high. They do show, Los Angeles does show it dropping down to about 7,500 feet. But for the most part, anything in Southern California is generally going to be above where people usually operate. Let's put it that way. You're not looking at snow down to any of the lower elevations. Southern Arizona, it looks like a good shot of precipitation coming in here with this also. So, let's do this. Let's do 6-hour max. So this is for the day today so far. So this is going through, that ends about right now. So this is the upcoming 6-hour chunks we're going on in through here. And you can clearly see just the intensity of this precipitation incoming here. Look at this. This is just bombardment. And this only goes through Thursday morning right here. This is going to traverse across Arizona and some of the desert areas as well. But let's do this. Let's go to the... Let's go to a precipitation map here, and let's bring up the NAM actually, and we'll show this, and we'll go to actual total precipitation in inches, and let's do southwest so we can look off a little bit to the east a bit more for Arizona. And this is hot off the presses. This NAM model, this North American, just ran here, just finished running. I think it's done running anyway. But even just through tomorrow morning, you can see some of the big amounts across some of Southern California, Santa Barbara, the transverse ranges again, the higher terrain. And look at the Central Coast. Some of these huge amounts starting to show up here. And you can kind of see the turning and the spin in the atmosphere and just the continuing bombardment of this precipitation. I mean, look at these amounts off to the west of Santa Barbara. It's just insane. And this only goes through Friday morning. You can see the storms still just kind of moving through Southern California here. And some really big amounts just to the northwest of Los Angeles across some of the higher terrain especially. Now, since this doesn't go out that far, let's do this. Let's do California south. And look at some of the amounts. I mean, some of this is showing up over 10 inches of rainfall. I mean, this is right near Santa Barbara, if I'm looking at this correctly, I believe. Yeah, and I mean, Highway 1 and 101 in there. And the big amounts incoming to Los Angeles. I wish this went out a little bit further, but we can jump on the little bit higher resolution model North American there. And if we push off into Saturday morning there, you can kind of see a bit of a sharp cutoff here with the huge amounts as that low pressure just kind of allows us to just train back over the area. Okay, let me catch up on some of the chat here. Yeah, the snow might be coming later on in the period here and on into January. Looks like maybe some cooler systems moving into that time frame. Edwards Air Force Base. Yeah, it's been a while since rainfall like this has come across the area. I was actually chasing during the atmospheric river activity last January down here, and we got stuck on Highway 101 just outside of Ventura to the west. Just huge amounts of water coming over the roadway. They totally shut down the freeway both directions, and it took a few hours for it to drain off before we could get out of there. Okay, yeah, let's bounce back out to California here so we can look at that a little bit better. And let's do the high resolution model. But you can see how there is that hit and miss nature to some of this activity. I mean, if that low kind of sits here for a second and stalls, then this is going to bring much heavier amounts off to the west of LA. And it'll still bring some big amounts. You know, you're looking at 2+ inches across a lot of the Los Angeles metro. But at the same time, I mean, just to the west is just going to be a torrent. And you can see up the coastline here some really big amounts. And this is still incoming. In fact, let's back up to where we are about currently here. So what are we? We're about 2Z right now. So this is now. So if we put this into motion, in fact, let's just do this. Let's just do 24-hour running total here. So this goes through tomorrow afternoon. So it's about 24 hours from now. And you can see you've got additional rain across, areas north of the Bay Area, Central Coast, all the way down to Southern California. And the running total, if we just put it into motion, you can see it start to come down across the Bay Area and then back across Southern California. But yeah, this is the danger zone right here. And that's why they have that moderate risk up there just to the northwest of Los Angeles. Just big impacts potentially incoming here. Orange County, you're going to get some rainfall, but as you can see, there's kind of a sharp cutoff going on here as well. So yeah, be prepared. Not everybody's going to get just totally dumped on, but some people are really going to get hammered with this storm. And let's do this. Let's back out of here and go to... If we look at the ensemble maximum, you can really see the sharp cutoff somewhere right around the Los Angeles metro here. Still, areas getting up over an inch and a half, even in the blues here. But there's some ridiculous totals that are showing up in here. I mean, you're talking about 10, 12 inches for some areas locally. So pretty impressive stuff incoming here. Hermosa Beach, light rain. Yeah, that's the thing about California. I mean, when it comes fast and furious, and a lot of times you get storms nearby and you don't necessarily get hit by them, or other areas get hit, or it's a real hit and miss nature of the storm. And that's not going to be too much of an exception here. I mean, there's going to be a pretty sharp cutoff, as you can see, but this only goes out to Thursday morning. So let's just kind of mention that as well. The Lone Drainer and Pronto. Thank you for your generosity, sir. Yeah, this thing is definitely El Nino powered. So let's see, I think I brought one up for that. Let me bring this up here. Let me close down any other ones I have up. Where did I put it? Oh, let's look at this first also. This is actually put out this afternoon, and you can see the confidence definitely increasing here. And you can see some of the local amounts, 8 to 10 inches, highest on the south-facing slopes. So it's always good to know exactly where you live. Are you in a valley, or are you on a ridge top? Are the mountains around you south-facing? Are they west-facing? Are you on the leeward side, the windward side? Are you right near the coast? Are you on higher terrain? It's good to know your elevation as well. Very important to know that stuff when things start to happen. And you can see urban and small stream flooding. Of course, any kind of burn scars out there. There's debris flow potential. And they also mentioned that here, the remote risk of small, short-lived tornadoes. And they always are going to say that pretty much. I mean, you don't want to like just put a blanket thing out there saying, hey, the Los Angeles area is going to get tornadoes, because then you're going to have, just panic all over the city, basically. So you have to really be specific and say, hey, if a tornado does come on shore, it's going to be a handful of people that actually get impacted by it. El Nino is coming. Yeah, the Sacramento was just absolutely, you guys were just electrical storm, man. It was just going wild here. And it's still going on to the north there. It looks like there was some further south too, just to the northwest of Fresno there. That storm kind of died off. But yeah, this storm is got a ways to go. Yeah, thanks for the kind words, everybody. Yeah, there's been some pretty nasty floods there, Santa Barbara area and the hills around it. Just those south-facing slopes. I mean, you can just kind of see how that lines up. These storms drop down. I mean, they're fairly rare, but when they do and they drop down and they've got that powerful south flow, that mountain range lines up perfectly to just take the brunt of it. And it really gets enhanced. Yeah, Oxnard is probably going to get hit pretty hard there as well. So that was day 1. This is the day 2 outlook here. Let's see if there's anything else in here that I wanted to show you. I mean, because these are getting upgraded too. And the models are going to come into a little bit better agreement also here. So we're going to get, as we go on into tomorrow morning, we're going to get some better data on just who exactly is going to hit here. But right now, it looks like northwest of LA is really under the gun out towards Santa Barbara, Ventura County, and the higher terrain. Yeah, there's not much snow up there yet. We're only about, 15% of the standard snowpack this time of year, but we have storms coming off into the extended. I want to kind of highlight that as well. In fact, let's look at that right now so we can kind of calm people down a little bit on that front. So this is the GFS, this is the 18Z. You can see the storm right now. You can see a little bit of snow on the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. Storm system just blasts Southern California here for a couple days. And look at Arizona getting in the action as well. Friday afternoon, there's Friday evening, Friday night, or Saturday morning. Continues to bring some rain and some snow for the higher terrain across Arizona as well. And we do get a break here across California. You can see a very weak front kind of moves into Northern California as we go through Christmas Eve. We get a break Christmas. Looks like it's going to be okay. The day after Christmas, things are ramping up out over the Pacific Ocean, just off the coastline. Strong storm coming up towards Washington. But look at this frontal system. Pretty robust frontal system there. And then additional storms. This is a really nasty one here. Pretty deep low. It's precipitation again all the way down to Southern California. This one would be a little bit colder, as you can see. Better snow for Southern California and the Sierra Nevada. That one moves through another powerful system up the Oregon coast, really brings a strong front all the way across California. So it does look like it's going to be active as we go on into the new year. And this is all the way out towards January 4th. Purely fantasy, but it still continues that active period. Yeah, there's going to be flood watches all over the place here. 4 inches in Fort Bragg so far. That's amazing. That is incredible amounts of rainfall. Okay, so let me back up. What was I going to show you? I've kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, the subtropical jet. So take a look at this. So even though we call this a cutoff low, you can see it here. That's the main westerlies of the jet stream here, and it's kind of leaving this guy behind, but there's a lot of cold air associated with it. And if you drop it down here, for the most part, it's cut off from these westerlies, so it is a cutoff low. But look at the subtropical jet stream here. This thing is just a monster. And this is definitely El Nino driven. The very warm water out there across the Pacific Ocean is no doubt enhancing this jet stream. And this is about 39,000 feet. But that's really given the storm a bit of an additional boost there as well. And it's going to help it continue to slowly move off to the east there. You can kind of see it move along in that flow. But what a subtropical jet. And look at this as you go on into the 23rd. That is just pure, definite, almost 100% sure that this is an El Nino signature here. That is just a very powerful subtropical jet. And then we get some more interesting storms here. As you can see, that jet extension coming all the way across the Pacific. And we can back out like this as well. And let's do that. So what do we, oh, the GFS is trying to run its new model already here. So put this into motion. There's that subtropical jet we're dealing with now, and you can kind of see it all the way from Hawaii towards Mexico there. And then that jet extension that we've been talking about for several days, it really gets cranking here. And look at that thing just slapping right up on the coastline of California. What a jet stream there, man. So we're probably going to stay active all the way into the new year. As you can see, this like gears in a machine here. Look at this. Just absolutely driving this jet stream. Powerful gradient. I mean, look at that. Is definitely an El Nino signature here, folks. Then the 0Z GFS is running here as well as we speak, but I don't know if we'll get to that yet. Well, it's done in Sacramento now. Are you in the southern part? I imagine you're probably on the southern part. Looks like the northern portion of Sacramento got hit pretty good. Yeah, the Channel Islands out there, probably a lot of rainfall incoming. Oh, the Los Padres. Is that Los Padres or Los Padres? But yeah, that's right above that's Ventura County, right? You guys are under the gun big time. Trying to read some of the chats here. A lot of people chatting. Good to see. Wow, 623 people in the chat right now. Not bad. So yeah, we're definitely got some active weather coming up again. I also want to do this here too. Let's go. I don't know what's going on here, why it's freezing, but let's go to the European. And I want to see the severe weather, the lightning flash density. Let's do 6 hours, or we'll do 3. And let me back out so we can see the entire state here. So this was this afternoon's European run here. And let's see if it picked up that stuff around Sac. It didn't really too much. You can kind of see how the European, I mean, it shows the lightning potential here, but it didn't really pick it up too much. And then you can see this really start to come as we go to tomorrow afternoon. Even some of the Central Valley, maybe Fresno and Bakersfield could get a thunderstorm also. But you can see this really hanging out across Southern California. This is on in through tomorrow evening. There's tomorrow night, very early Thursday morning right there. Still Thursday morning, late Thursday morning. Could be a lot of lightning right off the coastline here and just kind of impacting some of Southern California. I mean, that's a pretty strong signal. By Thursday afternoon, that's rocking and rolling down there. right off the coastline. You're talking about Oceanside, San Diego, Los Angeles Metro. There's Friday evening. There's Friday night. Some of the desert areas, some of southern Arizona could be getting in on the action on Friday morning. So, yeah, I mean, when you're looking at this, you know, you don't need me to tell you that that's a pretty strong signal. Scroll a little bit farther. There's Friday afternoon. So Southern California, probably the best shot. And also moving into New Mexico as well. There's some drought still across Arizona and New Mexico that hopefully this helps out with also. Possible polar vortex collapse on the 18Z. You talking about the upper levels? Are you talking about we're looking at the, and that's the 0Z. I'll get it right here eventually. Yeah, it kind of gets a nice split going. Anyway, I'll go into that more. Maybe I'll do that in the next couple of days, or maybe we'll talk about it over the next. If I come down there to LAX tomorrow, I will just live stream and I'll just let you guys ride along with me if you want. And I'll have more time at that point. Yeah, Long Beach is kind of under the gun there as well. The further west you get, probably the better chances. What we're looking at here now is a Supercell composite index. And this is then through Thursday morning here. And you can see there's a lot of instability. There's some wind shear there. There's definitely going to be a tornado threat with this. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see 2% issued tomorrow on the SPC Severe Prediction Center. Yeah, so south of Los Angeles, I mean, the better amounts, again, are going to be Los Angeles West, Santa Barbara. But like the European, I mean, even the 18Z brings pretty good amounts all the way down towards San Diego here. This is 72-hour running total. But the high resolution models are showing pretty sinister stuff for Southern California. And it just makes sense. The high resolution models are going to pick up on this better than the global models here. Yeah, thanks for the kind words, guys. Yeah, definitely. If you're on the coastline, you know, those tornadoes, those weaker tornadoes, they'll move on shore and then they don't make it inland too far generally. Some of them can. And some of them actually can be kind of destructive as well. If you guys have been down there long enough, you've probably heard about that in some of the news. Let's do this. So this is actually the surface-based cape right here. And you can see the storm off the coastline. And by the time we get into tomorrow afternoon, you can really see that just pummeling Santa Barbara County. And then as we go on into Thursday night, look at this fetch of unstable air just really getting in there. There's almost certainly going to be a few rounds of thunderstorm activity from San Diego towards Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, Ventura, Oxnard, up into the transverse ranges, and then eventually into the desert areas in Arizona. Central California, it looks like you're going to get a break for Christmas, probably Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after Christmas, but there's more storms brewing off the coastline. In fact, let's look at the European. What is this one? I'm going to close that one out. And we'll do this, and we will back up to the control. And we'll go to oceanic, and we'll go to Jansen. Thank you very much for your generosity. Well, Morro Bay. Morro Bay. Where is Morro Bay? Yeah, I mean, you're going to kind of be under the gun there as well, for sure. There's excessive rainfall outlooks that cover this area today and tomorrow. So, yes. And we can kind of see that here. This is going on now, so you might get some more rain later on tonight. And this is day 2, and you can see Morro Bay would be under that slight threat there. And day 3, probably still raining. That low is still going to be pretty close by, even on the day Thursday. I like Rain-X when you put it on initially. For a while, a few weeks, it's pretty good, but then it gets kind of grimy, and you've got to use I always had to use some kind of special cleaning fluid, and then I would have to clean like the grime of the Rain-X off, then you could reapply it, but it does get pretty grimy. Yeah, I don't think I've been to Morro Bay. San Luis Obispo there. So yeah, you guys are going to be under the gun the next few days. I mean, there's going to be some heavy rain out there. But really right now, you're talking about Santa Barbara, Ventura, Thousand Oaks, just going to be getting hammered. In the higher terrain, the Los Padres National Forest out there is just going to be getting a lot of rainfall across the higher terrain. I mean, you can imagine you're just running just this low-level, humid, unstable air right into these mountain ranges. And, then you lift it, you cool it, you get further condensation, more precipitation gets wrung out of the atmosphere. There's probably going to be some big amounts even up, probably the I-5 corridor will be raining pretty good at times as well. I've actually never been across Highway 33 here, though. That looks like a pretty windy road. That might not be a good place to be in the upcoming days. Okay, so what were we doing here? Okay, let's check it out. And this was the ensemble maximum in the next 48 hours. This is the max we're going to expect, but there's probably going to be some really big local amounts. Day 3 excessive rainfall outlook is right there. Thunderstorm potential the next few days. Here's the NAM 3KM. The NAM seems to underdo this a little bit as well. In fact, let's do this. Let's look at the HER. Let's bounce back to the 0Z that goes out 48 hours. It just looks a little bit more impressive, at least on Weather Bell when you look at the high resolution rapid refresh. But as you can see, okay, so let's back up. We are right about at 3Z. Actually, no, 4Z right now. It's 4Z universal. So you can see, the thunderstorm activity, it looks like it picked some of that up near Sacramento, but you can see the showers moving across. And there's going to be some showers here as you go on into tomorrow morning across the Los Angeles Metro. Just kind of a primer for what's coming. But like we talked about, Morro Bay out there, you can see the heavy rain coming along the central coast. Probably another nice couple rounds there for San Francisco and Oakland. And then you can see that really kind of get hung up right into the mountain ranges here. It tries to creep towards Los Angeles, but then just additional rounds of very heavy precipitation. Probably a lot of lightning associated with this as we go on in through the day Thursday. I mean, look at some of these cells just absolutely blasted right off to the west. The Los Angeles Metro is going to be just under the gun. And then these are just going to continue too. This still has a ways to go. You can see the low is here. It's going to be continuing to pump this moisture up across Southern California. And some of the models showing a little bit better amounts getting inland also versus others. Oh, wave action too. Yeah, let's look at that. And we can look out a little bit further here also. We'll look at oceanic and we'll go to northeast. Back it up. This is still this morning's run, but this looks like it's actually associated with that low. And there's some pretty good wave action coming down the coastline there as well. Look at that. And then we're going to get this jet stream just rolling. Look at this. Man alive. Maybe that'll bring just a massive swell. Look at these. Look at this wave action with that powerful jet stream. That is something I can't ever remember it being like that. That is just ridiculous. That could be some just crazy stuff. Oh, and I'm probably flying to Hawaii on. Flying to Hawaii on Christmas Day, and I'll be there until January 2nd. But I'm going to bring my setup, of course, and I'll be still doing my daily briefings. Jansen, thank you for your generosity. Glad you watch daily. Thank you very much. Well, it's Seattle, so you're probably going to be in the 40s. Or you might get lucky and it'll be in the 50s. But there's not going to be that much temperature variation. But some of the overnight lows can get kind of chilly. So I definitely dress warm, especially if you're from California. Man, that is some incredible wave action. That is really something to see out there. Some individual wave height up over 65 feet. Let's scroll ahead here and see. Wow, look at that. Look at this next set coming here. If you look back down here, you can see that 78-foot maximum individual wave height. How would you like to be out across the Pacific Ocean when that was going on? .5 right there. So there's probably going to be some really awesome waves in Hawaii while I'm there. So maybe I'll bring the camera and go out and get some of that action. I'll be on the Big Island though. The snow looks like it might be coming here as we go on into the future though. Let's actually look at that. So let's do this morning's European and we will go to, we'll just do a good old fashioned 10-to-1 ratio, total snow. And remember, this is going to be pretty much higher elevation stuff as we go through the next few days across California. But then it looks like we're going to turn on the storm track again. And you can see that's a pretty good shot of snow. That's some lower elevation stuff showing up there. That's December 27th. That's occurring on the 28th right there. Another round for the Sierra. That's pretty good. Yeah, so we've definitely got better times ahead as far as snow across the Sierra is coming. But we'll see how that trends though. You don't want to get too caught up in the extended forecast like that. Yes, there is definitely lightning potential, you guys. 100%. There's lightning potential. Anytime if you're out and about the next few days and the rain starts raining hard, there's definitely lightning potential. And this is for tomorrow, late morning there. There's tomorrow afternoon. You can see there's lightning potential anywhere from the Bay down to Southern California. There's tomorrow night. There's Thursday morning. There's Thursday late morning. There's Thursday afternoon. I mean, look at that. San Diego all the way up towards Point Conception. Thursday night, there's Friday morning, Friday afternoon across Arizona. So yeah, there's definitely lightning potential the next few days. And if you guys missed it, check it out. This is Sacramento this afternoon, evening. Lot of lightning, Sacramento north. I mean, huge amounts. These aren't individual strikes. These are many strikes here coming across the area. Do I have this updating? Let me see if this is updating. I do. So yeah, we'll get any new data there coming in. Gusler, thank you for the generosity. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, the latest runs, yeah, we keep forgetting to look at that, don't we? So let's bounce out again here. So let's look at the storm systems themselves. And we'll do northeast, 6-hour precip. And this is this morning's run here. So this goes out about 15 days. There goes our storm currently. That one swings through. And then it really gets cranking out over the ocean here by the time we get into Christmas Day. But we're still okay here in California until about the 27th. You can see a pretty strong front approaching the coastline there. But that's still a ways out. So, but, you know, we got to take care of first things first here. We got the storm we're dealing with. But now off into the fantasy land here, the future, 200 hours out. Another strong storm. That's when it's got atmospheric river potential, it looks like a bit as well. And that just going to continue across some of Central California. Another very strong storm. So yeah, you can see we have the potential to be active all the way in through the end of the year here. And then maybe eventually into the GFS has us more active as we get into January, but I wouldn't even worry about that right now. Yeah, you should be okay on Christmas Day. It looks like it's not going to be rating for that 49ers game. Oh yeah, Nilo. I haven't seen Nilo in here yet. He actually commented on a video a couple days ago, but I haven't seen him in here yet tonight. So yeah, when you're looking, like if I show you this run here, you see how this is moving? That's 12 Zulu. That's 4 a.m. on that morning, Tuesday morning. So if we back all the way up here, this is 06Z. That'll be 10 o'clock tonight at 06Z. You just take that and you subtract 8 basically from a 24-hour clock. So you subtract that 8. And 24 would be 0, and 22 would be -2. So you'd be at 10 o'clock. 22 is 10 o'clock, military. So when you see 12Z, I just kind of memorized, you just kind of know that it's 4 a.m. 18Z, you subtract 8 from that, it's 10 a.m. 0Z, you subtract 8 from that, and you got 4 p.m. Lucky 3 Crows, thank you for your generosity. Thank you very much. Snow levels will drop with those additional storms coming up here. It looks like chillier storm systems. I can actually click on this. I keep forgetting to do that. See if I click on that right there. See how that changes back and forth? 0Z is 4 p.m. So if I scroll through there, you can kind of see it. There's very little chance this jet extension will flop. Almost certainly will not. It's coming. The only problem is that any given location, like you don't know for sure if these storms are going to target Oregon and Washington or British Columbia or California. Because even with the powerful jet extension, you can still get some ridging over California at times. But this one doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I mean, that's a pretty potent jet stream just blasting across north of Hawaii right into California. That is definitely going to be a stormy pattern there for California if this holds up. And let's do this. So we can show, actually, so we'll do this. We'll go to the, how do I want to do this? So let's go to, I want to show the European, the GFS at the same time, but I don't want to like, okay, so let's go to the GFS. Let's back up here, the 12Z run. There we go. Nope, I ruined it again. Okay. There we go. So there's our storm now. You can see, of course, in the short term, there's going to be the good model agreement. The GFS is on the right here. And both of them have that powerful subtropical jet stream, of course, again, short term. But you can see that jet extension coming across Pacific. And the models are just lockstep. I mean, if you've been watching the videos, you've been seeing me talk about this for what, like a week now. And it's clearly still coming. And the GFS is even more sinister looking. I mean, you're talking about, what, 220 miles an hour at 39,000 feet. Just a ridiculous jet stream up there. in pretty good agreement. I mean, you can clearly see the similarity at 234 hours out in both the GFS and the European model. Yeah, a lot of chat coming in here tonight. This is good stuff. 607 people in the chat. Very nice. Channel's doing pretty darn good, you guys. Makes it worth my while to do these videos daily when you guys show up daily. Oh, that's just something I have to mention this in one of my channels too, because I've got about 50 members now of the channel. So if you are a member of the channel and you ask a question in the comments, I will answer your questions 100%, but I have to prioritize the people who are members. You know, because there's so many comments that come in sometimes that I don't get to answer all of them, but I will make sure to answer everybody who's a member. Because if you're paying me $3 or $5 or $10 a month, you know, that's your hard-earned money, and I have to make that worth my members' while. I just have to do that. So it's like, I will prioritize that. I'll still try to answer other people's questions, but I will answer every single question you guys have if you are a member of the channel. Take the Morro Bay down. Let's actually do this. Let's see what's going on with some of the stuff here. So there's a winter storm watch up. What is this? Hey, check that out. So we have a winter storm watch up now. Heavy wet snow above 7,000 feet. Total snow accumulations up to 12 inches. So yeah, okay. San Bernardino Mountains, Thursday evening through Saturday morning. How many roadways are actually up there? I'm not exactly 100% sure, but this is lower than what's been showing up. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, Matthew Fab is in here. Okay, yeah, I'll make you a moderator here. Bill D. Jr. Member. I can see if you're a member when you chat in here. Rocky Butte, 10 inches so far. Thanks for the kind words, Elena. Yeah, that's not too much up there, but it's something. I mean, it's bringing the snow levels down a little bit there. And so what do we got? We got wind advisories. We got special marine warnings. We got flood watches. We got winter storm watch. We got small craft gale warning. Let's see if they've changed the marine warning statement. Marine weather statement, not warning. They do mention the water spouts down here, so that's good to see. It's kind of cool. A couple days ago, I was kind of pointing out that tornado threat, and it was kind of cool to see that come into the forecast discussion as well. See the wind advisory here. Look at this. Isolated gust to 60 miles per hour. San Luis Obispo County mountains. You pronounce that Santa Ynez, right? I believe so. Santa Barbara County Interior Mountains, 4 a.m. Wednesday to 7 a.m. Thursday. Gusting 50, possible 60. Thank you for the kind words, everybody. If I go to Los Angeles tomorrow, I will definitely live stream. Yes, you guys can just ride along with me and listen to me, my random thoughts and whatever I'm doing in the car, and I'll try to point things out, and I'll try to get out towards Santa Barbara and try to see the rain, maybe catch a water spout. Yeah, don't sleep on this storm system, you guys. There's going to be some dangerous lightning. There'll be gusty winds. There's flooding potential, washed out roads, mudslides. There's a lot of that stuff going on. Right now, it looks like it's going to favor northwest of Los Angeles, possibly Long Beach. But it's going to be kind of a sharp cutoff in there as well. And right now, it's kind of favoring Santa Barbara, Oxnard, Ventura County. Let's look at the flood watch. I have not looked at the flood watch yet, but you can see the flood watch is everywhere. I mean, look at all these places. It's just like lined these things up here. And all these cities you can imagine. Malibu Bowl. There's a high risk of flooding, of extensive roadway flooding, especially in low-lying areas, including rock and mudslide activity on canyon and mountain roadways. Significant travel delays and road closures should be expected. There is a risk for flash flooding and debris flows and recent burn scars, especially the South Fire burn scar in Ventura County. Significant creek flooding is expected with enhanced river flows and low but present risk of flooding in the Ventura River. Swift water rescues are expected. That is never a good thing. So don't be out and about if you don't have to. Go do your shopping now, tonight. I mean, you probably have a little bit of time tomorrow morning before the big stuff starts rolling in, but do it tomorrow morning. Especially if you're in Santa Barbara, Ventura County, Oxnard, do it now. Yeah, some pretty dire wording there. Yeah, there's going to be, there'll be flash flood warnings out probably and stuff also. Let's go a little bit further up. The tide was really high up here as well, and it looks like it's also for like the Bay Area. I noticed I can see like Three Tree Point and some of the Puget Sound out here, and the tide was extremely high. Santa Ynez. Ynez? Did I say that right? Hector Chavez, member, welcome. Looks like I've got about 15 more minutes. Still got winter storm warnings up for some of the Sierra as well, mainly above 8,000 feet. If I had to bet, if California's winter will be wetter than average, it's so tough because I think that there's a few good storms coming, but will it be like nonstop wet? I don't think it's going to be like last year, but I think are a few good storms on the way. Santa Ynez. Ynez. All right, got it. And this is looking at the actual sea surface temperature anomalies as of yesterday, and you can see the El Nino still ongoing. Check out that swath of cold water down here as well. But I'll have to do an El Nino update here again, and we'll talk about what's coming next year, because it looks like the El Nino is going to fade, which is not uncommon as we go on into next summer, and then maybe another La Nina coming next year. But that doesn't mean that we can't get some crazy weather. Madera has been raining last night and all night today. Ynez. I got people telling me two different things. Ynez. Yeah, I could fly to Santa Barbara as well. I'll have to check that out also. It's just that we have like 10 flights on Alaska Airlines into Los Angeles. So if I miss one, I can just hop on the other. Yeah, we could also end up with a neutral year, which can get pretty exciting on the West Coast also. And you can see how you can really see it here. If I bounce out a little bit here, this is kind of hard to see. So we'll go to oceanic and we'll go to Northern wide view. So what we're looking at here is basically that powerful jet stream coming across the Pacific. And you can see the really warm subtropical air down here and the very cold, you're looking at Arctic and polar air, mid-latitudes. That's where the mid-latitude cyclone developed there. That's why they develop here, is because of this gradient. So you get these powerful storms associated with that. And you can see some of that cold air and a mixing with some of that warmer air, powerful gradient. Again, strong storms probably aiming at California as we go through the end of December here. And look at that storm, would be a doozy. That's another example of dropping an ice cube into a deep fryer right there. That's a pretty potent looking storm for California. And that would be another strong one there probably as well. It's always fun to just kind of watch these animations. Another one you can look at that's kind of interesting here as well. Actually, we'll go to Pacific Ocean and we will do, if we do the basin wide view here, does this one have it? But this is dew point, for example, and you can really see just how relatively moist the tropics are in comparison to the mid-latitudes. And if we go to precipitable water, you can also see just how much moisture lies in the tropical areas. And then you can see how the atmospheric rivers interact with these Rossby waves. And this is just the Earth attempting to balance itself out. The warm air tries to get towards the poles, and the polar air tries to go down towards the equator. And if you look really closely, you can kind of see the daily convection just pulsing through some of the precipitable water out there as well. It's always kind of fun to watch. New Year's Eve in San Diego. Oh, we're going to have to stay tuned for that one. I mean, it could be stormy, but as you can see, there's kind of a storm system right off the coastline here, and this is right about 10 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Goleta, California. I don't know where that is either. I mean, I've lived in Washington all my life once, and I still hear places here that I don't know where they are also. Oh, you're there? Yeah, you're under the gun. I would definitely do your shopping tomorrow morning. Go stock up for a couple days. You'll be fine. Stay out of the low-lying areas. No, it won't be a repeat of last winter, but it can be still quite dynamic. And for example, in fact, let's do this. Let's back out and let's go to I'm going to look at the upper levels of the atmosphere here really quick. Let's back up. This is the 18Z European. This one only goes out 90 hours, but you can see the cold air aloft with the system here, but you notice out in front of it here, things are still pretty warm. That's why the snow levels aren't going down that much, but there is some cold air trying to work in to Southern California. That's why they have that winter storm watch up. But then some additional storms as we go off into the extended will start to bring some of that cooler air in here. So that's all the way out towards Christmas. And I thought I told it to back up to the 12Z here. Here we go. And you can see some cooler air arriving as we go on in through later December. So probably a better chance for some snowfall into the Sierra Nevada, even down towards Southern California as we go towards the end of December. As you can clearly see, that air aloft is going to be chillier for sure. Douglas City, California, 2.5 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. So AMMAS, one of my members, when you put your other work hat, how do you advise pilots to navigate around all this? So basically I look at a real-time map, and we have like lightning overlays, and you can see all the Doppler radars and everything. And then we have forecasters that will put out advisories for turbulence in these certain areas. And we also have a program that allows us to see PIREPs. So if your pilot if my pilot tells me, hey, I got moderate turbulence, it's a really nasty ride here, I can put that in, and immediately other airlines can see that that moderate PIREP is out there, and you can see the altitude at which that PIREP was at. So then I can grab that as well. Like if I see a Southwest flight saying light chop, I can pass that on to my Alaska Airlines guys. And then also, of course, you got huge lines of thunderstorms out there, and the pilots are a few hundred miles away from that, and they can't really see what's going on with that line of storms. And I can kind of point them to where the best gaps in the storms will be. And then I'll look at weather models and try to correlate that and make sure that they're going to the area where, that line isn't going to close up. Because we've had some pretty interesting things happen to planes before. I mean, they get beat up with hail. Not Alaska Airlines. I'm talking about other airlines, but people trying to other planes ahead of them are making it through a gap, but then that gap is closing. And then all of a sudden you guys got guys still trying to push through that gap, and they end up getting hit with hail or whatever. And they end up damaging the engines or something like that, or they break a windshield and whatnot, and you have to divert and all that good stuff. But yeah, so you gotta be on your toes, but it's a pretty fun job. You get to text directly to the planes in the cockpit. You're telling them what's going on. If there's weather at your airport, so you tell them what's going on there. Things like wind shear, if the runway's wet, if there's snow accumulating on the runway, all kinds of stuff. So it's a fun job, aircraft dispatching. If you guys are on the younger side and you want to get into a career, the hours are amazing, the work is fun, you get free flight benefits, so it's a fun job. Thanks for the kind words. So I want to pronounce that Amazon Jolly. Yeah, so I'm a flight controller or aircraft dispatcher for Alaska Airlines. I worked for Hawaiian Airlines and Island Air in Hawaii previously also. And if you guys didn't know, we purchased Hawaiian Airlines here recently. So there's actually people on the seniority list that were still there when I was there for a few months. And there's also people that were from Island Air that are on that seniority list now too. So I might be reunited with some of those people out in Hawaii. Yeah, it's a fun job. It's kind of an unknown job. I actually went to school to become National Weather Service forecaster, and then I was going to do air traffic control. I was doing both and taking college courses and meteorological courses and whatnot. And then I found out about aircraft dispatching, and the schedule sounded awesome, and the free flights, and it's a nice job. And I got to work for Alaska Airlines. I'm not working for air traffic control. And jolly. Oh yeah, so you're talking about, okay. So what he is mentioning here, Denver these two systems are merging. So basically, let's take a look at it. What best to look at it here? Let's go back to the European, and we'll go to 700 millibars, see what that looks like here. So there's our low. There's Hawaii. There's California. This is at 10,000 feet, and you can see how it's just like this bowling ball of cold air. And you notice the cold air is kind of staying offshore again. That's why we're not getting the super low snow levels or anything. But then this next system, here it comes. It comes rolling in here, and I just pointed to my screen, but you guys can't see me. But here's that next frontal system for the Pacific Northwest, and that's going to kind of merge with that one. It kind of helps nudge it along, if you notice. It's going to get caught up there a little bit here, and this could bring some snow to the Intermountain West here also, so that might be good for Utah, California, the Rockies. An app for accurate data about the weather. I mean, I use Radar Scope and Radar Omega, and you can get those on your phone as well. That'll show you things like the Doppler radar, or if there's thunderstorm activity, it can show you lightning strikes. It can give you information about the SPC or excessive rainfall and all that good stuff. And this is just the desktop version of that. And here's a single site radar here. So right now we're up towards Eureka, California. And if we zoom in here, there's the Doppler right next to San Jose, and you can put this stuff into motion out there. And you can see some of the initial bands with that are just now starting to come on shore here. Looks like, was that Healdsburg, Fort Ross? Some showers moving across San Jose, San Francisco here in a bit. I've been using Radar Omega more, but I've used Radar Scope for a long time. Yes. Yeah, they're both pretty good. And if we back up, let's back up and see that stuff that hit Sacramento earlier. 75 frames, I think, should do it just fine. But yeah, look at some of these potent showers, just absolutely gully washers rolling across some of Sacramento there. It looks like a 1-2 punch. Nice amount of lightning with some of these showers as well. And after you get trained to read a Doppler radar, you can tell that these beams are kind of hitting a terrain feature here. They're hitting a terrain feature there. These beams sometimes, if you zoom in far enough, they'll be hitting, like, they can even hit cars on freeways if they're lined up right, depending on what the elevation of the beam you're looking at is. So yeah, you can see those showers that came across Sacramento and brought the rounds of lightning there. It looks like over Cortland and Hood there also. Yeah, Windy app is really good. The 76-foot waves, those will be way out over the Pacific Ocean. So, I don't know, maybe you can charter like a... I wish I knew how that worked a little bit more, actually. I don't know how the boats go out there, but I'm sure they're probably taking alternate routes versus going across the North Pacific at the end of December. Oroville, lightning this evening, 1.8 inches of rain, 750 feet. Yeah, sounds like a nice storm. No, these you gotta pay. You pay like $10 a month or something. But if you were into the weather, it's kind of worth it. The 2020 CZU fire. I am not familiar with that one now. Horizontal tornado. Was that just the actual fire itself that was causing those strong winds? Chatsworth, 1/2 inch of rain. Yeah, I see some people asking about that. Let's see. Look at San Luis Obispo. You guys got some rain. Actually kind of missed there, it looks like. But yeah, there's some showers already going on there. And this is just kind of... This is going to be interesting here because this is just kind of wetting the ground and getting things ready for just the massive amounts of rain that are coming to Santa Barbara and some of the mountains there. But you can see the Doppler radars have limitations. You know, there's higher hills to the north of this radar here. And so you don't get any data here. You're not going to see anything. What this is looking at anyway is back out over the coast. But really, you can't see places like, you know, you want to see Bakersfield or something, or you want to look out towards Maricopa, and you can't really see what's going on out there too much. But isn't there, I think there's a Doppler right, where is it? Where'd it go? Hanford. There it is. So that Hanford Doppler covers Bakersfield pretty well, though. Yeah, I would expect gusty winds. I mean, Los Angeles was talking about 30, 50 mile per hour gusts. Yeah, the models have been flipping back and forth pretty well here. And so this is what radar scope looks like here. So let's do this. Radar scope has a little bit better contrast, but it actually doesn't have as much information as radar Omega. Yeah, the Camano Island Doppler radar in Washington State just gets its beams totally blocked by the Olympic Mountains, so we couldn't see what was happening over the coastline. Stand by. I'll be right back, guys. Had to close the door. North Bend, Oregon, 1.56 inches rain today and still raining. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, some of these bands are just kind of running parallel to the coastline, so there's going to be some training, definitely, of this precipitation, kind of running over each other. Okay, guys, I got to wrap up the live stream here, so I have to start looking into my flights tomorrow morning. There's a fair chance I may go down to Los Angeles tomorrow and go film some of the flooding and try to catch a waterspout. And if I do, I will be live streaming tomorrow, but I may not have the daily briefings regularly scheduled. But I will bring my gear so I can do it in the car if I get enough time. You know, there's a lull in the weather or whatnot. Sonoma coastal here, 7.8 inches of rain here since last Sunday night. Very nice. But yeah, pretty impressive storm out there. This is very, it's going to be noteworthy here. And so what I'll try to do is I'll just try to get up early tomorrow and put out a quick briefing. So because I'll be on the plane, it'll take me like 3 hours just to get there. You know, it's like a 2.5 hour flight to Los Angeles, and then get the rental car and head off to the west. So, and I'll check out to see if I can fly into Santa Barbara or not. Yeah, thanks everybody for checking in with the live stream tonight. Hope you had fun. You know, there's probably a good chance, even if I come down to Los Angeles, I probably will get a briefing out at some point tomorrow. And if I get a hotel, I'll probably try to do a briefing for the following day then. And I'll try to get a Pacific Northwest briefing also. But if I go down there, I will live stream and you guys will just ride along with me. But anyway, hope you guys are having a good night, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow morning, and I'll see if I'm going to make this happen. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.